Good evening, everyone. I want to call to order the Rochester Planning Board regular meeting. It is October 7th, 2024. If we could please call the roll.
Mark Colby,
Present?
Robert May,
Here.
John Hammond is out with an excused absence. Matthew Richardson, he is out with an excused absence. Michael McQuaid also is out. Let's see, James Hayden,
Here.
Peter Bruckner,
Here.
Rick Healy,
Present.
Zebediah is out on excused absence, and Allison Burridge. Here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so seating our alternates, if Allison Burbridge could please vote for Michael McQuaid. Thank you. Okay, on to item 4, which is communications from the chair. So for the board members and also the people in the public, I met with our planning director as well as our senior planner just about some of the changes to the meeting with the new director. I wanted to get some input from him. And so as we noticed at our last regular meeting, we voted on some applications and the process had changed a little bit. So our plan moving forward is to, as we announce the next item on an application, we're gonna vote on accepting that application first before there's any presentation by the developer in a public hearing. So just plan on that. Obviously, making sure that before the meeting, we get a good look at the application so that we can then make that vote. We'll hear from the developer, the applicants, and those involved, as well as the public hearing. Bring it back to the board, and then we will make a decision on whether it's a development of regional impact. That way, we have some information beforehand, and then we can make that decision at that time. And after that point, we can take comments from the planning department, as well as our deliberations will start from there. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, so we'll go on to item 5, which is approval of minutes. I'm looking for a motion to accept minutes for September 16th, 2024.
So move. Second.
Motion made, seconded by Rick Healy. Any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And second item, I'm looking for a motion to accept the minutes for September 23rd, 2024.
So move. Second.
Motion made and seconded by Bob May. Any discussion on those minutes? Any corrections or anything? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to item 6, which is public comment. So this is an opportunity for the public who wants to comment or provide any input to the planning board on any general planning issues. These are not involving tonight's applications that are on the agenda. If you're here to speak on those, we politely ask that you wait. That way we could take that input for that application. And we're going to ask you, if you do provide comments tonight, just to limit those comments to 5 minutes. So any members of the public who wish to speak, please step forward and sign in your name. You are it. Yep. And for the record, just state your name and your address, please.
Lynn White, 273 Chesley Hill Road. I think I might just need to be pointed in the right direction, so this could be easy. I moved from Connecticut a year and a half ago and enjoy Rochester immensely. It's much like our old community, and one of the things I learned is that one person can make a difference in a small way or a big way. So on our property at the bottom of Chesley Hill Road, I've been to 3 other entities, a total of 4 times, to find an answer to a question. And you might be the place or might not be the place. Perhaps you can direct me. The runoff from Chesley Hill Road goes along the side through assorted culverts, above the ground or under driveways. Then it takes a turn and goes across our property and across the trust that's there for a good distance, maybe 500 feet. When we first moved in, I noticed that one of your wonderful old-growth pines had laid itself right down in the drainage ditch. I said, oh, this is a problem someone needs to know. I've been to Public Works twice, the Conservation Commission once, and spoke with the owner of the trust, all of who said they would get back to me, but unfortunately, it hasn't happened. Could you direct me? I just want to be able to tell the person that their property is going to be it's going to be a problem if it's not maintained. My career in Connecticut was in landscape design and development, and I'm a certified nurseryman with the state of Connecticut. But it concerns me that I can't find out who is responsible for keeping this clear. I went out with the littlest chainsaw that ever existed. And I said, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be doing this. This is someone else's responsibility. So how do I find out who to go to? Who will take responsibility? Someone made it, someone created it. It seems like a town answer to the runoff that's coming down the road, because it just diverts into this trough that dissects our property. Anybody know?
Go ahead. I'll let our planning director answer that as
Okay.
as a representative of the city.
If I could follow up with you on the side, or I can give you my email address. I just looked and I don't have my business cards with me. But you can also go to the planning department page and click on my name and send me an email. And what we can do is we'll trade some information back and forth. We'll figure out where exactly this is, whose property it lies on, and I will work with the Public Works Department to see if it's something
Thank
we
you.
can do. If the answer is the city doesn't have any legal rights to it, then that's an answer, and we'll
Yes.
share that with you too.
Yes.
But yeah, that's probably easiest if you go onto the city's website, navigate to the planning department page. I'm Seth Creighton. Click
Yes.
on my name, send me a reminder and a descriptor, and then I'll follow up.
Do you by any chance want a paper, you have piles of papers. This
I'll
is
take
what I
that. Yeah.
submitted to the Public Works over a year ago, with
Okay.
pictures and descriptions and maps and stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I'll grab
Just
that.
hand it over to Counselor Richardson. He'll pass it over to us, yes, so you don't have to walk over.
Here, there has been a recent development that a neighbor told us about, that you did approve a development to go into the land trust on the Chesley Hill Road property. Is that true? Housing units going into Chesley Hill Road?
I don't recall the specific application, but it's a possibility.
It was in the newspaper that 40 units were going up on our street. And if there had been a site plan, by any chance, that was
I
open.
don't believe so. I believe it.
Okay.
You're speaking to something that appeared in the paper maybe a month ago.
Yes.
That application has not come forward.
Okay. All right, just a news story, and I'll keep
Correct.
on it. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. That's all I need.
You're welcome. Anyone else from the public? Okay, seeing none, bring it back to the board. Any members of the board on any general planning issues? Discuss. Okay, go ahead, Peter.
Well, I didn't know if you were ready to come back to us about the rooftop mechanicals.
If I may.
Yep.
I was saving that for a workshop meeting,
Okay?
which is not this evening, but it will be in 2 weeks. And I was gonna have more information on that at that time.
Great, thank you.
I also wanted to mention, there has been a recent change to the law on what determines what an abutter is. It doesn't really affect the planning board too much, but it just changes that instead of just being a property that touches the subject property or across the street or stream, it's now within a 50-foot radius of that property at any given point on the property, including if, for example, if there was a road in between the property, you would kind of join those, the ones across the street, you would join them as if the road wasn't there, and it's within 50 feet of that as well. And so we just wanted to make sure everyone was aware, everyone, all the developers and everything. It's been a recent change in state law, and we have seen some applications come through that don't meet that yet. So we just want to make sure everyone's aware of it.
Has it gone into effect yet?
I don't know the date, but yes, it has.
Okay, so when we send out notice to abutters, we're in compliance now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Staff is working with the new state law and is making sure that that's being adhered to.
Thank you.
Yeah, went into effect last month, so it's only been on the books for a few weeks.
That's 50 feet of any point on the property?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to continued applications. So we're going to item 7A, which is the Aranosian Oil Company Incorporated. This is for 160 and 162 Charles Street. This is a site plan to construct convenience store and gas station with utilities and parking. This is a continued application, and please note that Seth handed out the architecturals. This was an approved application, and as far as we approved the application is complete last time, which did provide the architectural, so technically the developer did provide those. They just weren't on this current packet, so we made sure that you had those just as a refresher on what was in the last set of plans that we got, so. I'm done. Good evening.
All right, good evening. How are you? My name is Josh Lanzetta. I'm an attorney at Bruton and Berube. I'm here this evening for the application table before you, and with me to my left here is John Shagnon. I'm pinch hitting for FX tonight, so I'm sorry he's not here. I know that this has been before the board already. I think John has, the applicant's answered many of the engineering questions, and I think tonight we'll just kind of go through the staff memo if you'd like, and hopefully wrap up and ask for your approval. So I'll let John take it away here.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Board. John Shagnon from Haley Ward. We met with you, I'm not sure exactly, I think it was two months ago, but we've moved along and gotten all the peer reviews finalized for this project, made some minor changes to the plans since that meeting that we had when we last spoke to you. Most significantly was the elimination of some cobbled islands in front of the, and aligning to the fueling stations, which was a concern of some board members, and working with town staff and town departments, it was decided to eliminate those. And also there was a question about the runoff coming from the parking lot to the right of the building and going into the rain garden. And so the plans show a Rain Guardian, which is a trash and sediment collection device that is meant to protect the rain garden. So the Rain Guardian is a trade name of a device that protects the rain garden, and that was a concern that some members expressed at the last meeting. The staff memo goes through suggested conditions of approval, and I think condition A is one that might come off of your deliberations because the canopy is not changing. There is an existing small convenience store located under the canopy that will be removed, demolished, because that's being opened up to provide better safety and access, and a new convenience store is being constructed to the north, which will have its own dedicated parking and delivery area and employee parking and all of the other things associated with the proper site plan for a convenience store. That canopy is not changing, and neither are the supports. So the supports don't need to change. The building is just being removed, and the supports will be exactly the same. So the only thing changing in that canopy area are the number of pumps. They're adding some pumps under that canopy. The rest of the proposed conditions from the planning department are acceptable and should go forward. If there's any other questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Hopefully, we've addressed all the concerns, both at the peer review and staff level, and we're looking for your approval tonight so we can move on with the project. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So in the previous meeting with the applicant, the public hearing was still open. So if there's any members of the public who wants to provide comment or information to this application, please step forward and just sign in your name and state your name for the record. Okay, seeing none, bring it back to the board. So, good comments. Oh, new tricks, right? So before we get comments, we are looking for a motion on whether this is a development of regional impact or not.
I move that this is not a development of regional impact.
Okay, motion made that this is not. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second from Bob May. Discussion on that? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll turn it over to planning.
Thank you. Just so you know, I will be reviewing the staff recommendations memo that was included in your packet, and that's what I'm looking at right now. They'd explain what the project is. You guys have seen this several times, so you know what's going on. They're putting in a new convenience store and gas station, and merging two lots, and that merger will be a condition of approval that, as John mentioned, they're okay with. They will need to merge those two. The applicant is requesting two waivers. The first waiver has to do with, let's see, the maximum illuminance. Horizontal illuminance on the ground shall not exceed 5-foot candles is what the site plan recommendation says. There is a small spot that goes beyond the property line that does exceed that 5-foot candles. It's a very small spot. The TRG did review this request and is okay with, recommends approval of this waiver request for that area. The second waiver request says that no loading space shall be located within 50 feet of a residential district boundary, nor within 50 feet of a lot line of an abutting residential use. This one does, as you know, that it borders a residential property. This property did receive a variance to have this use. So the TRG has reviewed this and also recommends approval of that waiver request. And then for this as a whole, yes, the DPW and TRG have reviewed the third-party reviews that were done for traffic and stormwater, and the applicant has addressed most of those concerns, and we're very okay with it and ready to move forward with this. As John mentioned, condition of approval 1A, we did speak about this internally, and we can disregard that and take that condition of approval off. They are not changing the canopy. If they do, that will need to come into compliance, but there's no proposed change to that at this time, so we recommend taking that out. The rest of the conditions of approval are pretty straightforward. Again, there will be a lot merger of these two lots, which was contingent, is contingent on approval of this site plan. Let's see. Light fixtures, downlit and shielded, pretty standard kind of stuff. Drainage reports and things like that. We feel very confident that this is ready to move forward, and we're here to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Chair, just to, not to get into the weeds, but I wanted to just explain the first waiver. There isn't an illumination over the property line. The property is bisected by a zoning line, and there was a zoning board application that included this location of the building that was approved. And the issue is that the commercial lighting standards being applied to the residential zone caused the problem. But the lighting is consistent with the lighting that's associated with the commercial use. So it's not a spill over the property line, it's sort of that, just to get in the weeds a little bit, so that the public doesn't think we're spilling over the property line.
And I apologize, Mr. Shackman, he's absolutely right. It's just an increase in foot candles on the property. It does not spill over, so my apologies for that. Thank you.
It's in a residential zone, that's why. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board? Okay. All right, seeing none. So we have a couple waivers. So we can start with the motion. Let's see, to approve. Be the first waiver, which is to approve the waiver for site plan regulation Article 3 development standards, and this is a section on lighting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Rick Healy. Do I have a second? Second by Peter Bruckner. Any discussion on the waiver? Motion. Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. And then the second waiver request is for site plan regulations, Article 3, development standards, Section 10, that's parking and circulation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Peter Bruckner, a second
Second.
by Rick Healy. Any discussion on the waiver of motion?
If I could, just a quick comment. I think there's no other way to do this. I think given the nature of this lot, this is entirely appropriate waiver.
All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. And do I have a motion to accept to approve with the conditions as stated?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Bob. Discussion on the approval. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. You're all set, John.
Thank you very much for your attention to this application.
You're welcome.
And I'm sure the applicant and his operator will appreciate you going and utilizing the services that will be created. And
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Look forward to a good project. Okay, moving to new applications, which is item 8, and we're going to start with Charles Prescott Estates. This is 984 Santa Falls Road, an amendment to an approved site plan to add 8 units to the mobile home park. And this does include a conditional use permit. This is being presented by Norway Plains, and this is open to a public hearing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have a motion to accept the application as complete.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the application? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Lawler, I'm learning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the planning board. Scott Lawler from Norway Plains Associates, here representing Charles Prescott Estates. With me tonight is Todd Derby, owner's representative, should the board have any questions. We're here tonight seeking an amendment to an approved project for tax map 241, lot 4. It's a 75-acre mobile home park that's located off of Santa Falls Road. It's zoned agricultural, and it lies within the Conservation and Aviation Overlay District. This is an existing mobile home park that was approved in 1987 by the Rochester Planning Board for 132 units. And to date, they've constructed 113 units. The property is serviced by city water and is on on-site septic systems. In front of you on the screen here is the copy of the certified plan that demonstrates how the 132 units would be constructed. Essentially, Santa Falls Road is to the east, to the west. The Santa Falls River is to the east. Comes in a central, we've got a loop, and then out, and then more homes. So that demonstrates the existing approved mobile home park. I'd like to have focus the board on this center island here, as I'll demonstrate in my next page. Here's an aerial view of the existing park as it stands today. Again, majority of the construction was focused here at the beginning of the site and at the back of the site. And the center area, which depicted 16 homes, had been left unvacant and undeveloped. Excuse me. So Charles Prescott Estates is seeking to amend their approval to construct a single driveway in that'll service 8 additional homes, sort of in that area that showed 16 homes. It's really not adding additional homes. We're just trying to construct an area where 6 additional homes can be built and still be in compliance with the existing license of 132 units. With the 8 additional, that'll put us at a total of 121, which is still less than the 132 that they gained licenses for. To provide access, we're proposing a 24-foot road that'll be built to the mobile home standards. As you come off of Gold Rush Lane, it'll come in approximately about 500 feet until you get to the area where there'll be the 8 additional homes sites. We have applications submitted on behalf of the NHDES Wetlands Bureau. An alteration of terrain application to DES will be submitted within the next week, and once approved from both the Wetlands and the Alteration of Terrain Bureau, and the applicant's ready to start construction, they'll have to seek for individual septic system approvals from DES. As part of this project, we're going to bring in water that'll be tied into the municipal city water that's located within the mobile home park. We're providing water line to access for the homes as well as to service 2 hydrants. Our plans that we submitted through the staff demonstrate, the typical construction details for stormwater management, which is in this case will be a combination of a closed drainage system comprising of bituminous Cape Cod berm along the edge of the paved areas with catch basins that collect all the stormwater from the road and eventually discharge it into a stormwater management system located at the end by the cul-de-sac. That management system comprises of your typical sediment forebay as well as a bioretention basin. We have been in front of the Rochester Conservation Commission for a conditional use application that has to deal with actually crossing the wetlands. And we've received favorable support from the Conservation Commission. We've actually been to the Conservation Commission on several occasions as we've been working through them on the NHDES wetlands permit application process. All the standard utilities will be underground, that's power, electric, communication wires. And we basically demonstrate how the units would get set up and within the mobile home park, meeting the Chapter 135 regulations for mobile homes within a park, an established park. That is a brief overlay. Again, we're seeking 2 applications tonight. We're seeking approval, basically to amend the original approval for the configuration, and we're also seeking a conditional use application approval to cross the wetlands. I would like to note that this project was vested and predates the Conservation Overlay District ordinance, and as such shouldn't be subject to the standard 50-foot buffers that you would find under the normal home developments. That'll be part of a comment that we would like to make in regards to the subsequent and general conditions that the staff has outlined in this recommendations to the board. With that, please direct any questions to myself or Mr. Derby. Thank you.
Thank you. As mentioned, this application is opened for public hearing. Any members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Seeing none, bring it back to the board. And it is now that we're looking for a motion that we move that the application not be considered a development of regional impact. Do I have a motion? Peter Bruckner, and seconded by Councilor Richardson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Turn over to planning.
I don't have much to add on this one. Mr. Lawler gave a good overview of the project. As he mentioned, the development is vested, which means it was previously approved. It built out enough to grandfather any unbuilt development. When they looked at continuing the development from that was approved in 1987, land characteristics change, wetland boundaries change over time. Wetland science has changed slightly too. When they did that, they realized the road configuration and lot layout needed to be slightly different. That's why they're back before you tonight. That's a modification or an amendment to an approved plan, so they're changing what they showed the board nearly 40 years ago. With that, there's a couple of things that have changed and are in place. So when that change is made, they are now addressing stormwater to today's stormwater standards. They are abiding by state regulations which have changed. All of those have been looked at. We had a third-party review do stormwater and engineering. There's comments, you'll see as a condition of approval that as a precedent condition, all 30-party comments shall be addressed. Those have been addressed by the applicant. We just haven't had time between the applicant's response to get that back before the third party for their second glance. But everything looks perfect. Honestly, I don't think there's going to be any comments. The one thing that I would like to draw your attention to, and Scott mentioned it at the closing of his discussion, is general and subsequent condition number 1 is a standard copy and paste that talks about wetland buffers and 50-foot buffers off our wetlands. We should remove that because that regulation came after the 1987 approval, so it's grandfathered from that. Again, there's no concern. The Conservation Commission's looked at this application. They're comfortable with it. We're comfortable with it. To that end, because there is the wetland impact from the road, it needs a conditional use permit. That's just asking for permission and checking the boxes that the area was minimized. There's no other way around the wetland. So your motions tonight should be 2 separate motions, a motion to act on that conditional use permit request, and then a motion for full approval or denial of the application as a whole. With that, I have nothing else, but I'm here for questions.
Move to accept the conditional use request.
Motion made by Peter Bruckner, seconded by Counselor Richardson on approval of the conditional use permit. Discussion on that? Am I speaking to the motion correctly?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I'm looking for a motion for approval with the removal of this item 1 under subsequent conditions.
So move.
I still have a couple questions about the plans.
Okay, on this matter?
Yeah, on the plan
Okay.
set, is that okay?
Okay. Well, can you second the motion and then,
Is this for approval?
yes?
Could I ask my questions before
Go
the
ahead, ask.
approval? Is that okay?
Yeah, okay.
I noticed on sheet C3 and W3, the shape of the bioretention basin is different. And the other structures are aligned differently in the 4 bays, a different shape.
Yes. Yeah, I can speak to that. As Mr. Creighton mentioned, we had to go through the city's stormwater consultants for the review. And that change was made in C3 to reflect the changes from the staff review. We just didn't change the W3, which is the wetland impact plan.
Okay.
Corresponding, but they will be changed when we resubmit as part of the plan.
Yeah, I kind of figured, I just wanted to double check.
thank you.
And one more question. On the 4 bay, because the seasonal high is so shallow and the 4 bay is so deep, is there any concern that there's going to be constant seasonal high seepage into that 4 bay, keeping it permanently wet?
Generally, we find that the sediment 4 bays generally have a little water in them. And that helps diffuse some of the velocity as it comes in, and it's got that riprap in there and also has that water in there. So a lot of the sediment 4 bays we see generally have a little bit of water in there.
Okay. And the last thing on the 4 bays, with it being a little bit below, the bottom being below the bioretention basin, I guess my concern is as that water kind of fills up at the higher events, that runoff going through that berm, if it's not lined or if there's not like a impermeable liner in there, is there any way that could get through the bank of the 4 bay into the
From the
bioretention basin?
If I understand the question correctly, your concern is that the water from the sediment 4 bay would flow through the side of the embankment and into the bioretention.
Right, like if they're just using general fill and they're not putting like a
barrier.
clay barrier or something like that in there.
Our plans usually call for a clay layer at the berm and in between the cells.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Counselor Richards. Any further discussion on approval as stated? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Welcome, thank you. Okay, so we are now on to item number 9, which is the extension applications. This is for Fieldstone Land Consultants at 303 and 305 North Main Street. And look for extension, so planning.
Thank you. Thank you. So these two items look kind of similar, and if you recall, the planning board did have to review them separately at the same meeting. This first extension request is for the site plan that the planning board approved on April 1st, 2024. The deadline to meet precedent conditions of that approval were October 1st of 2024. This application for extension was submitted prior to that date, so they have made it here on time. They are requesting an extension to February 1st of 2025 so that they can secure getting state permits to obtain, state permits, excuse me. So this is their first ask, and planning staff has reviewed this and has no problems with this ask.
Questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to accept both application extensions to February 1st, 2025?
So moved.
Want to do them separately?
Yes,
We can
please.
definitely do them.
Yep.
Okay. So the first one will be case 114-8 HC 23. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made and second by Counsel Richardson to extend that to February 1st, 2025. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And then the other one is case number 114-8 B203.
Moved.
Motion made by Bob May. Do I have a second? Second by Peter Bruckner. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, other business, planning updates.
I have none.
I have none.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything for other? Perfect. Seeing none, we'll go to motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made, Bob May, seconded by Rick Healy. Comment? No. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.